Hi everyone, hope that you all are doing well. Today let's understand and work on Elasticsearch and implement a basic CRUD example on it. But before we jump into the video's context, I would like to request you, if you find my videos knowledgeable, please support the channel by liking, sharing and commenting on the videos. If new to the channel, please subscribe and press the bell icon. Let's first go to the official document of Spring Data Elasticsearch. So basically Spring has provided a dependency of Spring Data Elasticsearch that when put into your project will help you in the integration of your Spring Boot application with Elasticsearch. Basically, Elasticsearch is a NoSQL DB that can be integrated, or we say some pre-required configuration gets available in our Spring Boot app if we put the Spring Data Elasticsearch dependency. So let's first go by the documentation, what it says. So Spring Data for Elasticsearch is a part of Umbrella Spring Data project, which aims to provide a familiar and consistent Spring-based programming model for new data stores while retaining store-specific features and capabilities. Spring Data Elasticsearch project provides integration with Elasticsearch engine. Key functional areas of Spring Data Elasticsearch are POJO-centric model for interacting with the Elasticsearch document and easily writing a repository-style data access layer. So basically, it is saying that few things will be available to you already designed in your application, right? You don't have to write it from the scratch when you integrate with this particular dependency. So as the Elasticsearch is very fast in searching, it is very fast in getting the data from the database. So a lot of big applications in the big industries use it. There are a lot of use cases of Elasticsearch, and definitely I'll be covering that up in the subsequent video. So now this was a theoretical overview of Elasticsearch and Spring Data Elasticsearch dependency. So now let's go to the IDE and let's start by integrating the Elasticsearch in our Spring Boot application. So I'm on my IDE. Let's create a new project. Let me go and let me create a new project. I'll create a Spring Starter project. Let me name the project as Spring Boot Elasticsearch CRUD. We'll be performing some CRUD operations. So the Java version is 21 and our packages are com.code with raman.implementation. Let's go next. And here what we need is we are creating a very small example, just that we have a hands-on experience of working on Elasticsearch. Definitely I'll be covering up more wide applications using Elasticsearch, and even like integration of two databases in a particular application, wherein we are indexing some data from one particular database to Elasticsearch so that our get calls are very much fast. So Spring Boot version is 3.4.2 and we'll be adding the Spring Web dependency, and we need a Elasticsearch dependency. So let me search as Elasticsearch and we'll add this Spring Data Elasticsearch access plus driver. So now let's finish and let's import the project. So my project is there, project is ready. Let's go to pom.xml and let's first see the dependencies that we have added. Let me go to pom.xml first, and I'm on pom.xml. Java version is 21 and this is the Elasticsearch dependency that we have added. Spring Boot Starter Data Elasticsearch, and then we have the Spring Web dependency. So let's close this. We need a small example. We'll be implementing a small example. So let me first create model. So let me first create a package, that is model package, and I'll be creating a class that is product, right? I'll be saving some product data. So as it is a document database, NoSQL document database, so there is a different way of initializing the table. So we'll be marking this entity as @document. So to mark it as a table, so we'll say document, and in document we'll say index name, and in the index name we'll be giving the name. So let me give the name as product, and we require few of the fields in our model. So let me create few of the fields, that is private. One thing to add on, the IDs that are being generated in Elasticsearch are string ID. So our primary key would be a string. So let me say string ID, and let me also mark this as @ID. So this is my annotation. Then we need the name of the product. So that would be again a string. Then we need a description of the product. So let's say description, we'll say, right, description, and also we require the price, right? So let me say double and let me say price. So now what we require is we require the constructor. So let me add a constructor with the field, right? All the fields required. So I've added the constructor. Now let's also create getters and setters for the particular field I require for everyone. So let me select all and let me generate. Right. So this is my model. I'll be storing some products data into my products table. it will contain name, description and price, right? So now same way how we design our application. So same way we'll be designing this application where we'll be having a repository as well. So let me because if you see, we use the dependency of Spring Data. Spring Data again works on providing you a database connection in a JPA way. So now let's define a package of repository, and in the repository package let me create an interface and let's say it as a product repository. And this will be, so it will be extending Elasticsearch repository, right? Here we will be again passing the object that we have created and the primary key type. So primary key type was string. So this is my repository, right? So let me first mark this as a repository as well. So this is my repository ready, right? So now let's create a package of service and let's design some services. So let me create a package and I'll remove the repository. Let me say service, and here I'll be creating a class that will be called as product service, right? So here in the product service we need few methods like to save the data, to get the data, or to get the data by name, right? So we'll be designing few service methods. Let's first do the injection of our repository, product repository, right? Product repository, and then we can do the constructor injection. So let me do the constructor injection using the field, and I'll say this. So this is my constructor injection done. Let's design the methods. So these will be public methods as it will be called. First let's write a method to save the data. So it will be returning a product, right? And we'll be getting input of a product. And what we can do is we can simply say product repository dot save, right? And save will be having input of product, right? So it's simple, right? Sorry, I need to add a return statement as well. So I'll add a return statement before this, right? So we have written a service to save the data, right? Directly we are calling the repository method, right? So now let me create a method for like finding by name, right? So I'll say product. It will also be returning a product object, or there could be like multiple of the products of the same name. So let me say it as a list, right? So I need a product list, and it will be like find by name, right? And we'll be passing the name into it. And what we can do is we can say product repository dot find by name, right? Same way as we used to do for relational databases, same way we'll do for the Elasticsearch as well. As we define the name after find by, it directly maps to the model and picks that attribute and matches this with the input, right? And then it returns it, right? So let me also add a return statement. And now let's create a method. So method doesn't exist, so let's create a method. So we basically have done the saving of the data, right? And we have fetched the data by name, right? So now let's define a method. Let's say public, and I would be requiring a list of products. So list of products, and I'll say find all, right? Find all. It doesn't includes any input, right? So we'll say find all, and here what we'll be doing, we'll simply say product repository dot find all, right? And okay, the return type of find all is iteratable, right? So the return type is iteratable. Yes, iteratable. So we will need to handle this. So what we can do is we will need to get the data first. So let me say like a list, or not a list, as it will be a paginated data. We require a page class, right? So we'll be using a page class of Spring Data data.domain, right? And we will be passing the object that we require, and we'll say entities, right? And we'll say product repository dot find all, and in the find all method we need to pass page request, that what size of request that we require. We'll say of, and we'll say starting from 0 ending at 10, right? So this is the data that we require. And now let me say return entity dot get content, right? So this is my return, right? So whenever we require all the data as the, so now let me write another method. So that will be like a void method that will say delete by ID, and we'll be passing a ID here, and we can simply say return product repository dot delete by ID, right? We already have the ID, so we don't need a return statement, as this is a void method. So this is my service is ready. Now let's go to the controller. Let's design a controller. I'll be designing a REST controller, as I'll be testing the application through Postman. So let me say product controller, and first let me mark this as @controller @REST controller, right? And then I also need to give the request mapping, and in the request mapping let me give the mapping as product, or rather products. And now let's first do the injection of product service. So let me say private final product service, right? And I will be doing the constructor injection. So let me go to source, and let me say generate constructor using field, and yes, my constructor injection is done. So now let's define a method that is public, and it will be returning a product. So we'll say add product, let me first import it, and we'll say add product, and in the add product we require a request body, right? And we need to pass the product, right? And what we can do is we can simply say product service dot save, right? In the save we'll pass the product, and we can simply return this, right? A quick method to save the data, right? So now let me define another method that will be basically let me go to the service. Let's create a method for find by name, right? So what we can do is we can say product, it will be returning a list of products, right? So list of products, right? And we'll say find by name, and here we'll be passing it as a path variable. We'll say path variable, and we'll say string name, right? And first of all let me give the mapping also, because it will be a get mapping. So get mapping, and it will be passing a name. So let me pass it as name, right? And we already have defined the method. So we'll say product service dot find by name, and we'll pass the name, right? So we are done with this as well. I will have to give the mapping also here. I forgot to give the mapping, so it will be a post mapping, right? So now let's give another method, so that will be also a get mapping, get mapping, and we don't require any mapping here, any map that we need to give. So here also we'll be passing a list of products, right? So it will be the list of products, and we'll say find all, right? So find all method, it doesn't require anything, so we'll say return product service dot find all, right? And same way we need to give a delete mapping as well, and we'll say public, and it will be a void, and we'll say delete by id, right? And it will be like a path variable again, so I'll say path variable, and the id is string again, and I'll say id, and let me use the product service dot delete by id, and id is being passed, right? So we don't need to return it because it's a void method. And also pass this as a mapping, so let me pass this as a mapping as well. So I'll say curly braces and id, right? So my controller is also ready, right? I have done the CRUD operations for adding, getting the data by name, getting all the data, and deleting the data by id, right? So I'm done with my controller part as well. So my application code part is done. Now let's go to let me first discuss that what is Elasticsearch. So Elasticsearch basically is a database, right? So you need to have that database on your machine if you are running it locally, right? So I'll share the link of the website from where I downloaded the Elasticsearch. It's an official Elasticsearch website. So here you can go and download as per whatever your operating system is. Like mine is Windows, so I have selected Windows. So you can select your operating system and download this file. Then you can unzip this file. Let me go to the particular this is my repository. This is my folder where I downloaded this zip file. Then I unzipped this file, and in the bin folder there is a bat file called as Elasticsearch bat file. This one, we have to run this file, right, from cmd, right? So this is how your Elasticsearch will start, and Elasticsearch default run on 9200 port, right? And the URL is local URL, right? But before starting up the server, there will be a lot of problems while you will be running your server, because it will create a null response might come when the server is up as well. So before starting your server, even I got that problem. That is why I'm discussing it. You can go to Elasticsearch in the Elasticsearch folder. You can go to the config file, config folder, and you can simply do the edit of this particular file. This is a YAML file, right? So you can go here, and here if you can search of a key, right? If you can search of a key called as XPack, right? So this XPack security enabled. So this will be by default true. You have to do false here. Then only your server will start, right? So server will get started, right? So now what we have to do is, in our application also we have to give the reference, right? So let me go to the application.properties and let me give the reference property here. We need to give this particular property, right? So we need to add this property, Spring Data Elasticsearch.client.rest.uris, and we have to pass the official port of Elasticsearch. That is a default port 9200, right? On this only the application will start, right? So now what you can do is you can go and run your Elasticsearch server. So I am in my config. What we have to do is we can go to cmd, and not in the config. Let me close this. I'll go in the bin folder first, and let me go on cmd, and here what we have to do is we have to run the Elasticsearch. So we'll say elastic tab elasticsearch.bat. We'll run this file, right? So it will be your Java version should be 17 or above, then only your Elasticsearch will work, right? So mine is 21 right now. So till the time the server starts, basically Elasticsearch uses Java. So you will have to have a Java home set. Let me also open a CMD to test that my server is running or not. So let me say CMD, and let me open this again. And here I can type a command, that is curl minus x get, and we'll say localhost, or rather http colon, and we'll say localhost 9200. So right now my server is not up, that is why it is given me failed to connect to localhost 9200. So let's see the server is up or not. Now I guess the server is up. Let me run the command again. Let me run the same command again. No, it's not up yet. So it is coming up right now. So it might take few minutes to run the server. I guess it is up now. So let me go and run the command. Yes. So you can see that it will return this JSON, right? So now my server is up. So now I can go to my code and let me run my code as well. So let me go to the main class. That is, oh, I didn't create a controller package, or rather I did. No, I didn't do the controller package. Let me reconfigure it. Let me say controller, and let me move this file to controller package, right? So let me move this file to controller package. So now it's in controller package. Let me go to the main class and let me run this code. So let me say run as Spring Boot application. So there is an error. The error says that the bean is not defined for the product service, right? So maybe I missed something. Yes, I missed the annotation of service. So let me give the annotation of service and let me save and let me run the application again. Basically, Spring was not was not able to create the bean of Spring product service, and that is why at the controller level it was unable to inject it. So my application is starting up. So if I check, yes, so my application has started. So now let's go to Postman. I'm on my Postman. Let me add a post call, and let me say body, and in the body part I'll say raw, and I'll create a JSON. So let me create a JSON, and here what we have to pass a name. The name can be like a laptop. So it's a product, and then we need to pass description. Description can be a small computer. Then we need to pass the price as well. So I'll say price, and in price we need to give the double. So let's say it's 12,000.5. Let me put a comma. So this is my JSON, right? So we need to have the post call, and the post call is let's go to the controller. It's /products, right? So let me put it as localhost 8080 products, right? So this is my call. Let me hit this call. So yes, you can see that the ID is generated as a string, right? And my one of the product is is inserted into the table, right? So let me add another product. Let's say mobile, right? And we can say a communication product, and the price can be like 20,000, right? 20,000, right? And let me add this. So you can see another unique ID is being generated, and the product name is name, and communication product, and the price is this, right? So now we have already tested our saving of the data. Let's test the name, right, by name. So yes, a mobile data is being returned. Let me pass it as laptop. It should return me only laptop data, right? So we have tested the find by name as well. Now we'll test the find all method. So let me say get, and let me remove this. It will get all the data. So let me fetch, right? So it will give me two data. One is laptop, one is mobile. Let's delete the mobile one. Let's go and let's select a delete call, and I'll pass it as an ID. So if you go, it is being passed as a path variable, so you can pass it in a URL. So this is my ID. Let me send this. Yes, so it is deleted. If I say to get all the data again, so if I say get call and get all the data, so it should only return a laptop, right? So this is how you can design a CRUD application using Elasticsearch. It was a small example on how to like using Spring Data Elasticsearch and run Elasticsearch with Spring Boot application, right? Hope that you people like, share and comment on the videos, and if new to the channel, please subscribe and press the bell icon. Hope to see you in the next video. Till then, happy learning.